Well, good afternoon and welcome to Empower Hour. My name is Dr. Karen May with Momentum Health Centers, and today we are going to talk about sleep. And like I start off with any Empower Hour, this is great information, and I know you're in a neuropathy empowerment group, so I'll tie it back to neuropathy. But please know that your health and your situation is very unique and individual, so please make certain anything that you apply from here, that you're doing it with your best judgment in mind, and talk to your physician if you need to. But I always like to, when I'm doing these Empower Hours, the whole goal is that we're empowering you, giving you a bit of information and yet an application step. So when you've joined this neuropathy empowerment group, many people, it's because they have neuropathy. It's because they have that numbness and tingling in their hands and feet. And if you have not caught one of our webinars or looked at some of our other Empower Hours, please do so. You'll find within this group that many people who have gone through one of our treatment programs, other people are their support people. So it's a great place that's safe to ask questions. So if there's something you don't understand or the context, if someone says, hey, just follow the steps, it works, just understand those are usually people who have been part of one of our treatment programs, and they're on the back side and they're on the support side that they're keeping going. So if you have any questions, just make certain you ask them and we'll do our best to be able to answer them. But when we're looking at neuropathy, there's 4 very particular steps that on my own journey with neuropathy that we've developed and put together, and we have to look at those. And the first one is food is medicine, so nutrition. And then it's improving microcirculation. Then it's, if it's necessary, for some at-home equipment, and then it's also getting the support and putting it together. But part of that microcirculation, it's really interesting, is in order to have good microcirculation, you actually have to have good sleep. And so going back to, some of you may have sleep apnea, some of you may have a partner who snores, so you're not getting sleep, some of you may have insomnia, and understanding that sleep is where our body shuts down and heals and repairs. And so if you're getting broken sleep from numerous reasons, maybe the pain and the numbness is waking you up, maybe it's your partner waking you up, know that that broken sleep means that your body is slowing down and not healing and repairing like it needs to. So always still go back to food as medicine. And then we look at that microcirculation. If you don't have good adequate sleep, it actually can help, it slows your body's circulation down. What do I mean by that? Looking at sleep apnea in particular, when you stop breathing how many times throughout sleep, it actually can lead to over 400 other health conditions. So if you're not adequately sleeping and resting and can't heal and repair, and sleep apnea may also be part of it, know that your microcirculation is very much tied to the amount of breathing you do. So if you're a short, shallow breather, or you stop breathing, or you're not getting good deep breaths even when you are sleeping, that also slows that healing and repairing down. And the good nutrition has to get to those nerves, and it does it by circulation and that microcirculation. So I want to talk about ways to get some adequate sleep. And this can be hit or miss for people, but there are some big things that people miss the boat on. You may have some deeper issues, but it's always great to start with some simple steps to try. So when you're trying to sleep, you want to make certain it's a nice, cool environment. So whether you're using an air conditioner in the summertime or you're able to have a window open, it's better to have a cooler environment. The body just rests and relaxes better in a cooler environment. Doesn't mean you don't need covers and things like that, but a cooler environment helps. It's also better to have a dark environment. So there's actually some alarm clocks that will wake you up more naturally. There's a reason with that we live in a community that has an Amish community. They go to bed when the sun sets and they rise when the sun rises, and they still do that even today. So they work longer, harder hours in the summertime, and they're shorter hours in the wintertime, and they are using that time to rest and refresh as well. So just darker is better, and then a more natural awakening cycle is better. Now, Here's the other thing is I love when people say, oh, you need 7 to 8 hours to sleep and it needs to be consistent. And then I say, in what perfect world do people have the opportunity to do that? I know my body definitely responds better if I have more sleep, but my husband, if he gets 6 hours of sleep, that's all he needs. He was up when he was little reading in the closet. He just does not need as much sleep, but it does mean that he has to get 6 adequate hours of sleep. So your best sleep may be different for you, and maybe you work third shift and so things are a little off. We do have something called circadian rhythm, and that's again our body's natural awakening response and then going to sleep response. That may be different for everybody. So if I say morning and night, know that's whenever your body clock works, when you're allowed to based upon even your work. So we start with some simple things. It's called sleep hygiene. And the very first thing is we got to get into a routine. So that means at the same time, whatever your bedtime is, start by winding down. So that may mean brushing your teeth at the same time, having a cup of chamomile tea to relax you at the same time. But it is very imperative whenever that sleep cycle is to shut your phone, devices, and TV off. Many people tell me that they can't sleep unless they have some noise or something going on. It may take a little bit. There are some soothing sounds that you can do that aren't tied to a screen, but using and looking at that blue screen and getting that stimulation in will not help you to shut your brain down. So sleep routine means shutting down. That may take you 15 minutes, that may take you 2 hours, but you have to slowly work your way into having that routine and doing the same thing over and over, so that way your body can get to, oh yeah, I'm starting to relax. Oh, yep, now it's time to start shutting down. So that's the first thing, is get into a sleep routine and try to do it 5 to 6 nights a week. There's always one that's going to be screwy, but we have a choice. And I just got done with a group today where we talked about one small habit that we can do every day. My one small habit is I know I need 8 hours of sleep. I know that I am best, most productive, most rested if I can get that time. You know what that means? That means I have to shut my light off and at least shut my light off by 10 o'clock at night to have any chance of having 8 hours of sleep and still getting up and being productive the next day. So I literally work at it. And do I nail it out of the park? I don't. But I set it up. And I've even told my kids, so by the time we get to like 9:15, Sunday through Thursday, they're like, hey mom, isn't it time to shut down? Sometimes I want to go, I don't want to. But I then also make that conscious choice and it sets me up for a better day. So find your sleep routine. Maybe you need to make it something that you're actively working on and actually telling somebody you're doing it so they can help hold you accountable. The next thing is if some people want to use sleep aids in order to sleep. That can be good and that can be bad. I don't talk about prescription medications. That is not something that's within my scope of practice, but we can talk about some of the natural things that are out there. Many times if we need a sleep aid, it's because we're internally wired, something's going on, we're not shutting our brain down. So that sleep routine, that sleep hygiene helps to start to calm the brain down. But I find that even a cup of chamomile tea, you literally can buy Celestial Seasonings. It is inexpensive. Every major grocery store carries it. Just a cup of chamomile tea. There's no black, green, or white tea in it. It's just chamomile. Chamomile literally helps to calm the body down. I know there's other ones called Sleepy Time, and these are just ones that I've personally used, so I don't get anything from them, but I know that they work and they're actually pretty decent and they're decently priced. But a cup of chamomile tea, and that can be now iced. So if it's too warm out for you and you want iced, just brew it so you have it. Or it can be a cup of hot tea. So that way it just helps to soothe you and relax you. So finding chamomile tea. There's other sleepy teas, things like that, that may have some valerian root or passion flower. Those are natural herbs as well that help to relax and help with the stress response in your body. Those are pretty, and they're generally regarded as safe, or they'll call it GRAS, G-R-A-S. generally regarded as safe, even with people who are taking medications. But you definitely want, if you're on a bunch of medications, talk with your pharmacist to make certain. Chamomile, not an issue. Valerian and passion flower, worth double checking. So those are things you can do naturally. Some people will like to use melatonin. Melatonin is one that's either it's going to absolutely work for you or it's not. But I am going to talk about the milligrams and the dependence upon it. We never want to become dependent upon anything. And 3 to 5 milligrams is generally safe as well. But I've had people come in and they're on 10 milligrams for many years. If you're needing to take 10 milligrams of melatonin to sleep, please know that that's a pretty high dose, and you definitely want to talk with a practitioner who understands melatonin and the use of it to help to see if that's for you. But you can also build up tolerance where it's not going to work. And so just taking it because you think it's going to work, that's not something we want. We want to use it for short-term targeted purposes for a month or two, a couple weeks, but we don't want to take it for years on end unless you've talked to your physician about it. So go with something more simple. Go with having the chamomile tea or trying the valerian and the passion flower before you hop into the melatonin. Other things that set us up for bad sleep is our day routine. It's the fact that as we get older, one, you have to understand we don't sleep as much anyways, but if we're more active towards we go to bed, that wakes us up and helps to make us not sleep. So also napping too much throughout the day. We can get into a bad cycle where we nap and then we're awake. So please know that naps are supposed to be short. They're supposed to be 5 to 10 minutes, 20 minutes max. If you go over that, you're going to disrupt your sleep cycle as well, and it's going to throw you off. Obviously, if you're sick and your body is telling you to sleep because you need that rest, it's a different story. But on an average healthy day, 5-10 minute cat nap, not a bad thing, but you just don't go longer than a half an hour because it will disrupt your sleep cycle. So to recap, with what you can do is just know that when you sleep, that is when you get your healing and repairing. That's when your body it's not digesting food, it's not putting a bunch of intention into thought. So your energy, literally with that your body is creating, can be used for healing and repairing. Know that also we need at least 6 to 8 hours. Each person's a little individual, but ideally that's uninterrupted. So if your sleep is interrupted, please start to identify why, so that way you can work on those pieces. Maybe you're up peeing too much, maybe your spouse snores, maybe it's because the pain and numbness is getting you up. Identify why you're getting up. And that's something to talk to one of your practitioners about. And then understand needing sleep hygiene and routine. Trying to go to bed at the same time, have the same routine prior to going to bed, so that way your body's getting into that habit is good. Not napping excessively throughout the day, and shutting down. Don't fall asleep to a TV or a computer or a tablet or a phone. Shut down. Maybe some light music. I always say, truly, your bedroom should be for sleeping and sex. Maybe some reading, but sleeping and sex, so that way your brain gets used to what is that bedroom used for. And then know that if you need some assistive aids, try to go with natural route first, with using some basic herbal teas that are generally regarded as safe, and then using other supplements if it's necessary, but you're going to really want to talk to someone about that. But we can always go back to food. If we go back to food, if you're eating foods that cause inflammation, that gets your body bogged down. So even if you do sleep, it may not be restful. So you want to make certain that you're using food as medicine. And I know in a lot of these groups, in these Empower Hours, we post a ton of different recipes for food that helps to heal and repair us. Mm-hmm. You will hear that time and time and time again from me. Food as medicine. You don't need to be perfect, but if you are highly inflamed, every chronic disease is going to happen, and that includes insomnia. Or when you wake up, you could sleep for 10 hours and not feel rested. You still have to go back to 70% of your overall health is really what you put into your mouth. So make certain you take a look at some of those videos we've posted too. But simple recipes, Yeah, I mean, we're talking vegetables, 2 times as many vegetables as fruit. We're talking about winter and summer squashes as your carbs instead of a bunch of grains, and making certain you are getting adequate amount of protein as well. Keep it simple. And I love the acronym of KISS, but I've changed it up a little bit. I like to say keep it super simple. You're not stupid. Keep it simple. Stupid is, I don't like that because I don't like how it sounds in my brain, but keep it super simple. When it comes back to it, keep it super simple. Find your routine. Find one thing you can work on to start to establish a better routine, whether it be with your nutrition, with your sleep hygiene, not napping. Keep it super simple. Pick one thing and start working at it this week. So I'm going to challenge you. You will find that I'm always about challenges, and these are challenges that I accept myself, is find your best time for you to go to bed at night this week, and when you feel like you can get the most rest, so that way you can be refreshed in the morning. So for me, I know I need to be in bed between 8:30 and 10 o'clock, and I am always eking out that 10 o'clock. But I really push to be in there. So my challenge to you is find your best bedtime that you can wake up and feel rested and refreshed. So I want you to comment below, ask your questions below. I would love to know any tips and tricks that you have that are generally regarded as safe. And any questions that you have, please, we would love to be able to answer them. Thank you so much for joining this group. We'd love to keep posting what you want to hear more about, and stay tuned because we will be, I think our team will post in next week what my next topic is, so that way you can take a look at it. Enjoy the start of the summer, and enjoy getting outside, and if the opportunity presents itself to be with family and friends, enjoy that too. Many blessings, and may God bless you. Have a great rest of your day.